Good morning. So I got the GMC Envoy back. The check engine light popped back on, so I was able to plug in the code scanner and got a couple of codes that came up. So let's go ahead and look at those, see what we got here. Alright, so the first code is P0303 cylinder 3 misfire detected. And the second code is a P0442 evap system leak detected, small leak. So it looks like I was right about the evap leak. Now I'll just go ahead and dive in and do a little research on that, and then open the hood and see where we need to go to repair this part of the vehicle. Alright, so after some further research, one of the first things it tells me to do is to check the spark plugs. Now, to get to the spark plugs in this GMC Envoy, I'm gonna have to take this apart, the mass airflow. I'm gonna have to remove, that's one of the bolts I'll have to remove right down there. And then I'll have to remove this clamp right here. So, grab a couple of tools. Got a nice 10mm deep socket. This one is a old snap-on, one of the tools that got handed down to me from my grandpa. 10mm. Oh no, this one's a True Craft. These are some old tools right here, but they still hold up pretty well. But yeah, I got this with a nice long extension on there, and just a regular ratchet. And then I also got one of these. This was a Father's Day gift right here. It's like an adjustable socket. You just put it on pretty much anything, and those pins will push it to size right there. So that's pretty cool. So first I'll start by loosening this clamp up a little bit. And I'm not gonna remove it all the way. I'm just gonna loosen it up just enough to where I can pull this off of this right here. So once you've loosened it up a little bit, doesn't take much, just kind of pull that apart like that. Now I'll go ahead and work on that next. Alright, next I will loosen up this clamp back here. Remember, we're not removing it all the way, we're just gonna loosen it. Ooh, almost dropped. So I got the extension on there to remove this one. Brings it way up here, so it makes it easier for me to fully loosen this bolt. So now with this bolt removed and that bolt removed down there, and removing this mass airflow and loosening up this right here, I'm able to take this off towards my left. I'll be able to remove it fully. I won't be able to show you how I do it just because I only have to use both hands for this, but yeah, I'll go ahead and remove that and show you what it looks like when I'm done. Alright, now that I removed that, I still have some wiring right here that's connected, so I'll go ahead and remove that from this little clip-on right here. Just gotta kind of nudge that out a little bit. So all I did to remove that was I just kind of pushed on it with the back of my little flat blade right here, my flathead screwdriver, and I just pushed it and it popped right out. Now that allows me to fully remove this from the top of the head. Put that right there. And there we go. Gives me access to the spark plugs. Alright, so I'm going to be looking for the third cylinder since that's where the check engine light is showing us. So it starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the first one being closest to the front of the vehicle, and then the sixth cylinder being the furthest from the front of the vehicle. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. That's the one I want to look at the spark plug. So it could be the spark plug, the ignition coil, or the fuel injection that's causing this problem with the misfire. I'll start by checking the spark plug because that's the cheapest. So I believe maybe if the spark plug's all burnt out, then I'll start by buying that and replacing that and see if that solves the problem, and then go from there. I'll go ahead and remove this 10mm bolt right there on the top so that I could get access to the spark plug. So I'll go ahead and do that. You won't be able to see it on camera, but I'll remove that and then show you what it looks like when it's done. Now that I've loosened it, I could go ahead and just pull up on this here. Now down inside of there is where my spark plug is, so I'll go ahead and loosen that up and pull that out and take a look at it, check the condition of the spark plug. So to remove the spark plug from down in there, I'm gonna have an extension. I'm gonna use my socket wrench that has the swivel head, a nice good extension on there, and then inside of this socket there's a little grommet that I'll use to be able to grab that spark plug and pull it out of the cylinder there. So I'll go ahead and just start doing that. Again, you won't be able to see it on camera, but I'll show you what it looks like when I remove it. Alright, so there's the spark plug stuck in my socket. I'll go ahead and remove that and check the condition of it. So it looks a little weathered. Since spark plugs aren't all that expensive, I'm just gonna go to O'Reilly, go ahead and buy one and replace it, put everything back together and see if that solves the problem. And then if not, we're gonna try the ignition coil next. Alright, so I just got out of O'Reilly. I spent $13 on the new spark plug. I had to get the NGK because that's all they had available. It's the better quality of the options they had. Just a little comparison. I did want to get the AC Delco, which is what I currently have right here. AC Delco, that's just the brand I like to get for Chevys and GMCs. But yeah, you can see the comparison of these two spark plugs here. So got all these burn marks and it's just a mess. And then this one's nice and clean. And then up here where the spark is created, you can see it's just all burnt out and messed up. So we're hoping that solves the misfire problem. I'll go slap this new one in and see how it goes. I'll go ahead and start putting this new spark plug in right here. While I ran to the store, I went ahead and just put this on here, kind of dummied it up on there. So go ahead and pull that back out. And that right there is the ignition coil. So ignition coil attaches to the spark plug right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grab this spark plug right here and put it in this socket and then tighten it down nicely inside of here. And this is the way I will put the spark plug in the socket, just like that. That's nice and snug. And then I'll go ahead and drop it down in there. And I'm gonna just take the wrench off for now. I'm gonna kind of find the threads to it too first, so I don't want to cross thread it, so I'm just gonna kind of very nicely, feel it kind of catch those threads nicely without cross threading it. So I get a little resistance right here, and then I'll go ahead and put the wrench on and tighten it nice and snug in there. Alright. You can see it's in there. It's not all crooked or nothing, so I didn't cross thread. So I'll go ahead and put the wrench on. Alright, now that the spark plug is in there nice and snug, I'll go ahead and put the ignition coil back in there nicely. Well, there's a little dead bee in there. Don't want that to get in there. Same thing, I'll kind of just hand tighten this until it's good. And then I'll go get my 10mm socket and tighten it down all the way. Nice and snug, and don't ever over tighten stuff. Alright, with that 10mm bolt secure, I'm going to go ahead and plug that back in. Make sure the connector is all put back together properly. Good to go. I'll go ahead and put my mass airflow back. And I'll start putting this side in first. Just like that. Position this where it's supposed to be. Position that where it's supposed to be. Alright, all I do is connect that hose there. This hose there. And this little hole is where this belongs. Just kind of keeps this wire harness secure. Let me get this on video for you. I'm just sticking that in this hole right here. Boom, just like that. I got two 10mm bolts right here. One will go in the back right there in that hole. Right there. So I'll go ahead and hand tighten that. And then I'll go ahead and hand tighten this one in here. I want to make sure I put this hose on here. So I might need to reposition this to get that hose on. Now that hose is secure. So now with making sure that that hose is secure, this bolt, that wire harness, and this hose is all connected. I'll tighten it all down now with the wrench and my flathead. So I'll start with this one right here. Tighten them nice and secure, and these are good to go. I'll go ahead and start it back up and see how it does with the new spark plug in it. Alright, so I was able to do this whole job with a 10mm socket and a flathead screwdriver. It's nice to have that swivel head right here, and the extension just gets you up above, and where you're able to get leverage on those bolts that are deep down in there. So very nice to have these tools for pretty basic mechanics, especially if you have Chevy vehicles. A lot of stuff is 10mm. So yeah, just a heads up, you know, buy yourself some of these and you'll save yourself a lot more money than having a mechanic do these simple fixes for you. But we'll go ahead and start her up and see if the spark plug was the fix. If it's not, then our next purchase is probably going to be an ignition coil, which is about $75. So we're going to pray that the $13 spark plug solves the problem today. Alright, I took it for another drive and it seems to be driving a lot better. At idle, it's not really, you know, jumping around at the RPMs. I have the AC at full blast right now, and it seems to be settling right there in that same spot on the RPM section. So we're looking pretty good. Check engine light is still on. I'm sure that'll go off after some miles, but I'll go ahead and reset it with the code scanner, and we'll see. We'll go from there. If anything happens in the next couple days driving it around and it comes back on, we may look into that ignition coil and see if that's the problem. But as of now, it seems to be driving fine, so we'll reset the ignition or the check engine light and go from there. See how it does. Alright, code's erased. I turned it off, started it back up. RPM seem to be doing just fine. This is with AC off. Jumped up a little bit, but it settles right there. Engine sounds fine to me. Sounds about like it did the last time I drove it when it was running just fine. So hopefully that's the solution. $13 spark plug, and it's good to go.